Opposition against any military intervention in Niger by ECOWAS keeps mounting every day. The ECOWAS parliament have now added their own voice. They have rejected in totality by voting against any military intervention in Niger. They said that diplomacy and negotiations should be deployed in persuading the military junta in Niger to form a transition government to return to civil rule. So the ECOWAS parliament is against a military intervention in Niger. Also, the Nigerian National Assembly is against any military intervention in Niger. Will ECOWAS heads of state neglect their own parliament and authorize a forceful invasion into Niger? That will mean that they don't care about democracy or observe the tenets of democracy. And if they go ahead with that, it will mean that they are now on the same level, on the same pedestrian with the military in Niger. On the other hand, the military in Niger are busy consolidating power. They sent a delegation to Guinea. Their discussion wasn't made public. Of course, it won't be far from seeking help and military cooperation from Guinea. Burkina Faso and Mali have already pledged to fight alongside the Nigerian military in case of any invasion. So they are busy consolidating power, improving their numbers. They've also deployed Turkish Bayraktar drones that they recently acquired from Turkey. These drones will be a game changer in case Niger is invaded. They are not the only ones that bought these drones from Turkey recently. Mali bought them, Burkina Faso also. Also, Mali recently took delivery of many combat helicopters and fighter jets from Russia. Not that Mali doesn't have insurgency problems at home, but imagine what will happen if they decide to deploy some of this equipment in Niger to help them. So it's obvious that what is at stake is huge. It's not as easy as people are trying to make it. Like some people saying it will take a few hours for Niger to fall, that it will be a walkover, blah, blah, blah. It's not easy. That's why some religious leaders went to Niger to meet with General Abdurrahman Chiani himself. They also met with Prime Minister Lamine to find a solution to the problem instead of the threats coming from ECOWAS.
C'est une rencontre importante qui vise à rapprocher les deux pays, le Nigeria et le Niger. Et ils ont fait passer le message du président nigérian au chef de l'État ici même. Et le chef de l'État les a chargés d'expliquer tout ce que nous voudrions voir se réaliser dans les prochains jours, c'est-à-dire la levée de ces mesures qui sont inhumaines, qui sont iniques et qui sont inacceptables parce qu'elles sont en contradiction avec les dispositions même des règles de la CEDEAO.
Now, this brings us to the question, why will Nigeria help France to invade Niger? France is Nigeria's major rival in West Africa. Why would you help your rival to rise against you? Nigeria is the only country in West Africa that can project power outside its shores. The only other country that can do it is a foreign one, France. And the past several years, they've been losing that influence and the capacity to project that power in West Africa. They've lost their military bases in Burkina Faso and Mali, and now the next will be Niger after the takeover of power by the military. France is aware of this. That's why they want to use Tinubu and Alassane Ouattara to influence the decision of ECOWAS to invade Niger. But why should Nigeria help its rival to regain control in Niger? Nigeria is surrounded by francophone countries. To the east is Cameroon, to the northeast is Chad, to the north is Niger, to the west is Benin Republic. All these are francophone countries and former colonies of France where they maintain military bases. So why is France being chased away from these countries? It's very simple. If the relationship between France and these countries was good enough, the countries wouldn't need to chase them. And the fact that they have chased them away, or in the case of Niger, they are intending to chase them away, who are we as foreigners to say no to them? We are not in a position to do that. It is their country. It is their choice. France is the only former colony in Africa that continues to maintain control over their resources and political power. So which means, to some extent, their independence was just on paper. When a former colony continues to control your resources and your economy, the cipher is still being printed in France. So when a former colony is in control of all these, including political power, then these countries cannot be said to be truly independent. That's the problem. Let's get back to yesteryears when Nigeria aided South Africa in their fight for independence. The ANC, headed by Nelson Mandela, all received help from Nigeria. We also did it in Rhodesia, that's the current Zimbabwe. So why is Nigeria of today, under Tinubu, helping a colonial power to regain control of a neighboring country, Niger? What it means is that Nigeria is even acting below the standard they set decades ago. Yes, it's been a free fall. Even the presidential election that was conducted in Nigeria back in February was below the standard of the presidential election conducted 30 years ago, 1993. Yes, that's how low Nigeria has sunk. In terms of economy in West Africa, Nigeria dominates. They would have increased that domination substantially if the ECOWAS single currency succeeded. But France sabotaged the ECOWAS single currency through Alassane Ouattara. When Macron saw that ECOWAS leaders were on the verge of finalizing the ECOWAS single currency, he quickly moved and announced that CFA will be changed to ECO, the same name that ECOWAS leaders adopted. He quickly hijacked it with the help of Ouattara. With that move, France hurt Nigeria's economy in a substantial way, because if that single currency had succeeded, Nigeria would have had more people to push their inflation over. Already their economy is larger than the entire others. Just like the United States does with the US dollar, everyone uses the dollar. It's like a world currency. If you want to do business internationally, if you want to import something, you're in West Africa, you want to buy something from Europe, from China, you have to buy dollars first in order to do your transaction. So whatever is happening in the United States, whether their budget is failing, whether they are overborrowing, anything they are doing, they can easily push the inflation to others because millions of other people apart from their population are using dollars. So that's exactly what Nigeria would have done if the ECOWAS single currency succeeded. It would have brought millions more people under the control of Nigeria's central bank. And there's a lot of advantages in having many people using one currency. France robbed Nigeria of all those benefits. France, a former colonial power, continues to maintain a strong foothold in Francophone countries they supposedly gave paper independence 60 years ago. How is that possible? This is where the problem lies. These are the grievances of Francophone countries. This is why they are chasing France away. So why should Nigeria stand in their way? Why should Nigeria help a rival to rise? Look at this scenario. Company A and Company B are fighting for market share, and all of a sudden, Company B starts to stumble, losing market share. What will Company A do? Company A will simply stand by and be sipping coffee and be gradually taking over the market share that the Company B is dropping. That is how it is done. You don't help your rival to take over your market share. So it's unfortunate what Tinubu and his advisor, the National Security Advisor, is doing. The National Security Advisor is not competent, or is it that he advised and Tinubu didn't listen? But he doesn't have any intelligence experience. He wasn't part of the military. He worked for the police and he attained the rank of DIG. So he doesn't recognize what Nigeria stands to lose if France regains their foothold in West Africa. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand the security implications for Nigeria. He doesn't understand all this. Nigeria is simply supposed to stand by and be watching as Francophone countries humiliate and chase away France from their territories. That's what they are supposed to be doing, not helping France to regain foothold in West Africa. This is ridiculous. Nigeria was supposed to go underground and tell Chiani that they are supporting him. That's what they should have done. Even France would have done that to Nigeria's adversary. Yes, just simply tell Chiani, you have done the coup. Yes, okay, just set up a timeline, no problem, we'll support you. And the man will just announce 1-year program or 6 months transition program, and elections will be conducted and everybody will go home. France can simply not invade Niger successfully without involvement of Nigeria because of the long borderline, more than 1,600 kilometers stretch. If Nigeria is not involved, they can only default to Benin Republic. And it will put them in a very tight corner. To the north, Algeria has made it clear that they will not tolerate any war in Niger. They don't want insurgency to increase in their southern border. In fact, they will enter the war if any invasion occurs in Niger because they will want to fight for Niger. Chad already made it clear that they won't fight their neighbor, so their territory cannot be used to invade Niger. As simple as that. So going by all this, it is obvious that Tinubu put his personal interest above national interest, which is not supposed to be. Considering the fact that he goes for medical checkup in France, his doctor is in France, the hospital is in France, so maybe his allegiance is to France, not Nigeria. Because when you talk about hospital, they save lives. So maybe because of that, his allegiance now is to France, a foreign country, not Nigeria. This is the problem of having incompetent people in power. They always put the interest of foreigners ahead of their own country. A reasonable person would have known that any war with Niger will always affect Nigeria substantially, both humanitarian and otherwise. So it's very obvious opposition is mounting. Many people from northern Nigeria are adding their voices to the opposition. The war will affect them more than any other person, so they don't want the war. There's no way it can go on, no matter how they want to package it. It's also of interest to know that the ECOWAS military heads postponed their meeting. They were supposed to hold a meeting in Ghana to strategize on how to prosecute this war, this invasion of Niger. They postponed that meeting, so it's interesting to know if it's a perpetual postponement or they are trying to sample opinion to know if they will go ahead or forget about the invasion altogether. Going by feelings of some countries in the Sahel, they always felt that the presence of France in these countries didn't stop insurgency. In fact, they go as far as saying that they aid insurgency. And going by the number of reports since the coup in Niger happened, it seems on the uptick. But there's not enough information to actually say whether it's true or not. Using capable equipment like these Turkish-made drones can actually put them in check. Nigeria needs many of these. Of course, they bought some of them. So it's never late to take the right path. They should approach the Nigerian military and bring them closer. The way they are fighting this war as if it's theirs, as if Niger did something to Nigeria personally or they took over our territory. France will never fight for Nigeria in this manner. That's a simple fact. These guys don't look at you on the same page. They don't take you as equals. So they always feel, I have a leverage. Maybe it's because of something they have on Tinubu. No one knows. They have his files. So maybe they will say, if you don't do this, we do this. Choose one. So that's the problem. Compromised individuals bring all sorts of problems to a country. In fact, it's a security risk. So going forward, they should definitely change tactics. Find a way to solve this amicably and peacefully. There was no casualty when the military took over power in Niger. There should not be any casualty in order to change power again in Niger. May the voice of reason rise high. Thanks for watching.